Senator Stevens, we are on agenda item number 2 for those trying to keep up. Senator Stevens, you are recognized to explain the provisions of Senate Bill 7.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to clear something up before I get into my brief opening. On your agenda, it's been misprinted. It says that I'm running legislation to lock in daylight standard time, and it's not what I'm doing. Just making it clear. I'm sure it's probably auto-corrected or something like that. So that's a good place to start, right? So, but I wanted you to understand that that's not what I'm doing. Committee members, thank you for having me this morning. The sun is shining bright here in Oklahoma today, I can tell you that. As many of you know, I've been working diligently on this piece of legislation, and I'm excited today to share the many benefits of why it's critically important to stop the clock on daylight saving time. There are polls that have been given to the Oklahomans to see what their opinion is on this matter. They have spoken loudly. According to the poll ran by the Oklahoman, April 12, 2022, nearly half of Oklahomans that were polled, 47% wanted to lock the clock on DST. That's nearly half. Only 24% wanted to lock the clock on standard time, leaving 24% to leave it like it is.
We have a due pass from the chair. Second from Senator Bergstrom. You can continue if you'd like.
Would you mind if I finish? It might clear up some questions later on,
Absolutely.
Madam Chair. This is just one poll. I've seen polls with higher numbers supporting DST. They are tired. Our Oklahomans are tired of switching their clocks twice a year. And we're literally on the battleground on where we're going to stop this clock because, in my strong opinion, we are going to stop the clock. We just want to make sure that we're stopping the clock on the right side of the fence, what matters most to Oklahoma. That's why I ran the interim study here at the Capitol in October of 2021. There was a truckload of positive outcomes that came out of that study supporting locking the clock on DST. The list of benefits is too long to mention in my opening remarks. I would like to mention that there is a trigger on this bill. Congress would have to pass the Sunshine Protection Act, and the President of the United States would have to sign that into law before the states are allowed to lock in and enact their laws that they proactively ran in legislation. I submit to you today what's being proposed is to simply manage and utilize the clock to our advantage. With that, Madam Chair and members, I would like to say that I appreciate the opportunity to bring this bill before you today and yield for questions.
Senator Rogers, you're recognized for a question on Senate Bill 7.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So how many states already have this preemption?
Thank you, Senator, for that great question. There's already 19 states since the year 2018 that have passed legislation to implement this into their states once Congress passes this. So I'm trying to make Oklahoma a top 20 state. Thank you for the question.
Follow up.
Thank you. So is there the other states that they've signed on to the other side of that, the standard time, I guess?
Thank you very much for that question. And the strong answer is, and I'm happy to say no. There's been 19 states that have passed it in the last 4 years and 0 states that are doing what Arizona is doing, locking the clock on standard time, and also Hawaii.
Follow up. Are there any other questions on Senate Bill 7? Senator Floyd, you are recognized for a question.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. So Senator, do you want us to be like Arizona, or do you want us to observe daylight savings time? I'm not clear what your position is on this.
You know, I thank you for the question. It's amazing that you would ask me that question. For some reason, this is the most difficult thing to understand what I'm trying to do, and I appreciate, I didn't want to go into my opening remarks, but honestly, what I'm trying to do is lock the clock on daylight saving time, which occurs in the month of March through October, in some cases early November. I am simply trying to give that extra hour in the evening in the wintertime. So it only involves like 4 months of your calendar, what I'm trying to do. That's what's going to change. Does that answer your question?
Follow up.
Thank you. No. So when you say you want to lock the clock, do you want us to stop observing daylight savings time, or you want us to continue observing daylight savings time and make daylight savings time year-round?
Thank you for that question. I'm sorry I had you lost. Yes, I want to stop the clock on daylight saving time. So when we advance on March 12th of 2023, if that just so happens when Congress passes this measure, then we would not ever change the clock again.
Follow up, Leader Floyd.
Is it me? We're on daylight savings time right now. So when we get to March and we go back.
No, for clarification, we're on Central Standard Time right now, Senator. So we would not be on this time. We would be actually an hour later in the evening, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. Is we're just adjusting the clock in those winter months. And I will say this, when we do this, because it's very important that the viewers and the senators in the room understand this if they've never heard this before. There is a spike in heart attacks, in strokes, in fatal car accidents every time we change the clock, whether we're going forward or backward. It's a fact. And so there's a lot of factors that play into that. There's no sense of me going into all that, but that will eliminate and eradicate that out of our society.
Leader Floyd? Okay, she waves. Senator Murdoch, you are recognized for a question on Senate Bill 7.
Thank you. So your last statement, so if we do this, we're not going to have any more car wrecks, heart attacks. Is that what you just said?
I certainly hope not. Thank you for that question. It's a great question.
Are there any other questions on?
Actually, yeah, so for clarification, I guess I might have said that. It will eradicate. No. I think I actually said it right. Surprise, surprise. Because I said I think it will eradicate the spike in heart attacks, strokes, and fatal car accidents. Thank you for the question.
Are there any? Senator Rogers, you're recognized for a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So what if we we get an hour extra in the morning or at night of daylight?
Thank you, Senator from Jinx, for the question. So you're going to get that hour in the evening when it matters the most to all of Oklahoma, and it's going to improve the quality of life here. And thank you so much for your questions. I entertain all that you want to know. There's a lot of meat on this bone.
Senator Rogers, you're recognized for a follow-up.
Thank you. So as a guy that pours concrete in the morning, so I lose an hour that I would get, right?
Thank you for that great question. Actually, I think your crew is going to be probably writing me thank you cards for doing this measure, and because they're going to get to sleep a little bit longer, possibly. So, but it should help the industry and the economy. On a serious note, this will be something that the Tax Commission can't even help me on. I've asked what the impact would be given our businesses through the standard time that we experience right now in the wintertime, if we were to just move that hour to the end of the day, what that would look like in revenue for the state of Oklahoma, and you just can't get there. I would say, not to abuse the microphone here, but this is going to make a tremendous difference because of the lights on our vehicles. People stop traveling at night unless they have to. And, it used to affect our senior community. Not anymore. Today, I talk to young people, 18, 19, 20 years old, that say, hey, these LED headlights on these vehicles, that they're blinding. And especially like the weather we just had in the last couple of days here in Oklahoma at night with the rain falling or the snow or whatever like that. So safety issue is a huge deal too. So
follow up.
Thank you. Yeah, I can tell you it's going to cost, thank you, Madam Chair, but it costs me an extra probably 8 gallons of fuel per light pod that I have. So it's going to cost me money. So appreciate it.
Was that a question?
So do you think that'll cost me money?
Senator, if you say it's going to cost you money, I trust you. I will work with you diligently, to figure out how we can save some money for you to make up for that.
Are there any questions? Any other? Senator Murdoch, you're recognized for a question on Senate Bill 7.
Thank you. So are you thinking about adding a tax credit in on this, or what? How are you going to save him money?
Thank you for that question. It's actually a great question. There is going to be a lot of revenue come in just from extending this. And thank you, because you reminded me that our restaurants, actually the restaurant industry, are affected by this as well. Every time we change the clock, I had a restaurant owner tell me that his business suffered for 2 weeks every time we changed the clocks. Do the math on that. That's a month worth of income. And he said, because people are not acclimated to the change, their kids are not acclimated, people in general, our body's not. So that's another huge driver here in Oklahoma. I'm all pro-business, and that's why I'm so passionate about this bill. It's going to be good for Oklahoma.
Are there any other questions on Senate Bill 7? Senator Madam Floor Leader, you are recognized for a question.
Thank you. So the author started his comments by saying that there was it a typo or there was a confusion? So maybe we go back and walk me through that part.
Thank you, Senator, for that question. So walking you back through that on the agenda, I didn't see it earlier. I caught it. One of my colleagues pointed it out to me, and he said, I thought you were locking the clock on daylight saving time. And I said, I am, because he's heard me talk about it for 3 years. And so he showed me the agenda, and that's why I started with that, so we could clear that up. I am not locking the clock on Central Standard Time, or in this case, it says Daylight Standard Time. And by the way, Daylight Standard Time doesn't exist. That's just a play on words. Does that make sense to you? There's Central Standard Time and there's Central Daylight Time. Okay, Central Daylight Time is the same as saying daylight saving time as well. Those are interchangeable phrases. Yes, ma'am.
So you want us to have daylight savings time year-round so we don't have to switch the clocks?
Yes, thank you for that clarification. You're exactly right. That's what this bill does.
Okay.
Follow up? Are there any other questions on Senate Bill 7? Seeing none, any debate? Senator Weaver, you're recognized for debate.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say that I think last year, the year before, the good author came before this committee and did an interim study. And having been around, obviously, Oklahoma my whole life, we've talked about this change, but I never realized the effects it has on cattle, the effects it has on the mental health. I don't know. I could sit here and argue probably one way or the other on this, quite frankly. But I do know this: we probably need to do something in Oklahoma, and I just commend the author. I don't know that in my 5 years now, going on 5 years in this body, have I ever seen anybody work so hard and try to educate so many people on. Sometimes it's difficult even to get which one are we talking about. I mean, because it's confusing. So I commend the author. I really do. And I've looked for at least over 30 years on trying to figure out how can we prevent traffic accidents, and now we know how we can do that. So I'm glad that we know that today.
Will there be any further debate on Senate Bill 7? Senator Floor Leader Floyd, you are recognized for debate.
Thank you. So my understanding from the research is that, yes, we need to stop flipping our clocks up and then back, that in and of itself is detrimental to the health. But my understanding of the research is that we don't stop the clock in daylight savings time. We do not do daylight savings time, and we stay on normal time without flipping. And so it's not just a question of if if we do it, because I think the research on both sides say, no, you shouldn't be changing the clock in fall and then in the spring. But my understanding of the research is that we're going to end up on the wrong side of this if we vote to stay in daylight savings time year round. We need to vote to stay out of daylight savings time year round.
Thank you, Madam Leader. Any other debate on Senate Bill 7? Senator Stevens, would you like to close debate?
I certainly would. I appreciate the questions. I'd appreciate the debate. And to your point, Senator, to your point, we're on a battleground. We got to make sure we get this thing right. I've done the homework for everybody. And I don't say that in a haughty way at all. That's why I'm so passionate about this. If you see the other side that's running against this bill, against this measure, and all those other states that's doing this, this is an organized group that want to land on saving or stopping the clock on standard time. That's an 8-month deal. I don't want to spend my time or your time talking about this. I would gladly entertain all the information that I know and the reasons why this is the right side is daylight saving time. For exactly the mention of mental health. By stopping the clock on standard time, you're not talking about changing our clocks for 4 months. You're talking about changing our clocks on something we've never done before. Let that sink in a minute. 100 years ago, and I don't think anybody in this room is 100 years old plus, because that's when this took place. 1918 is when America put this in place. Just saying. This is something to ponder. Think about this for 1 second. 8 months, you're going to take 1 hour away in the evening. 1 hour for 240 or so days in a year's time. We've never seen that. We've never dealt with that. I didn't talk about seasonal depression or SAD, seasonal affective disorder, which is real, by the way. It happens in the winter months. I can only imagine what we're going to name it if we land on this thing on standard time. Just for the mental health side of it. I come out of the mental health field, so that's why I'm so passionate about getting this right, you know. So I appreciate that. I appreciate your debate as well, Senator from Moore. I really do. Thank you for reminding me. You didn't hear me talk about one thing about farming and ranching. Do you know that what started this in my soul and in my mind is on the farm, growing up on the farm and the ranch? And I'm like, why do we keep doing this? I mean, we can gain that hour in the evening. This is silly. This is just silly. So now I don't even talk about that anymore. But it's a huge player in Oklahoma economy. I'm closing now. I appreciate you enduring my comments. I would love to work with anybody across the state of Oklahoma to make this clear. And yes, sir, I've tried to educate the public. I've tried to educate my colleagues, and I will continue to do that because I want us to land on the right side. That's extremely important to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Stevens. The vote will now occur on Senate Bill 7. The clerk will call the roll.
Senator Alvord? Aye. Senator Bergstrom? Aye. Senator Floyd? Aye. Senator Murdoch? Aye. Senator Rogers? Aye. Senator Seifried? Aye. Senator Weaver? Aye. Senator Young? Aye. Senator Murdoch, would you like to vote? Aye. Senator Stewart? Aye. Senator Garvin?
Aye.
8 ayes, 2 nays.
Senate Bill 7, having received 8 ayes and 2 nays, I declare the same to have passed.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Thank you, committee.
Thank you.